What I thought we'd do is start off and ask Michiel and Gavan some questions, some general questions, and at any time, guys, if you want to put up your hand and ask a question, you're very, very welcome. I think the first thing that every young player wants to know, that every parent wants to know, is how do you know when you're ready for the professional circuits of the world? Whether you're talking about joining the Sunshine Tour, whether you're talking about trying to play overseas, how do you know when you're ready? I'm going to hand over to start with Gavan.
Thanks, Dale. It was such a long time ago. I hope I can remember. Nice to sort of meet all you guys. Obviously, when I go and do IGT tour, I see names. I don't know everybody, but I do see names and see them progressing onto the other tours around South Africa and around the world. In my day, we were very fortunate. We could play in all, if you were an amateur, you could play in all the professional events because there wasn't enough professionals, so you could almost measure yourself against the best professionals in the world at that time, which were Peter Oosterhuis and Dale, who turned pro a lot earlier than I did. And you could see whether you were good enough to play against these guys and how well you did in the tournaments. You don't have as much privilege as we did then, so you managed to play on the IGT tour, and occasional, maybe you'll get into a Big Easy or something like that, and you can see how good you are up against the best players. So it's a little bit more difficult today than it was then. And also turning professional, we didn't make much money then, and they will tell you that prize money was not good. Even if you made a cut in a tournament, only 30 of the 60 guys got paid. The rest of the guys, they just got well played. So it wasn't really about money, it was about winning. So if you were going to turn pro, you better be able to win. That's the only way you made money. And I was fortunate enough that I won probably more than 50 amateur events before I turned professional. So I had a lot of good habits going down that road. So you guys, if you're going to play on the IGT tour, you better start winning before you start thinking about going on the major tours. And I think that's the most important thing, that Swace has got this tour going, and you guys are playing up against a lot of good players, and sometimes the tour players that on tour come and play in these events, and you can measure yourself up against these guys. And you want to be aiming at winning. So aiming at winning is a lot of preparation, and I'm sure Dale's going to ask those questions later. But the most important thing is that if you're going to come out here, you're going to say, I'm going to give myself 2 or 3 years on the IGT tour, and I want to win X amount of tournaments. I don't want to go there for experience. Experience is overrated. Winning is everything, because that's the only way you're going to make money, especially when the prize money is not as big as you go on the US tour and you come 30th, somebody's going to give you a lot of money, but it doesn't happen in all the other events. Even if you look at the events the Sunshine Tour are playing now, if you're not in the top 20, you're probably not breaking square for the week. So I think you want to start encouraging yourself to learn to win. And before I maybe talk about other things, I just wanted to get that into your front of your brain there, that winning is very important and you need to learn how to win. So you need to find people around you that are going to help you do that.
That is terrific advice, because you see, we watch television, we read the magazines, we go to the internet and see how much money some of these players are making, and how much money they're making for not even winning tournaments in some cases. And at one stage, Tim Clark had won $13 million, and he'd never won a tournament on the PGA Tour. $13 million. He would never have to work again in his whole life. He'd never won a tournament. But that's only the PGA Tour. And I think what Gavan says is 100% correct. You have to learn to be a winner. You've got to win. And you've got to have that mindset. You've got to, when you're in contention, you've got to go out there and finish the job. If you can't do that, you're in the wrong